Hey guys, Josh here, and today I'll do a character bio for Doctor Doom. The Fantastic Four trailer came out, and I thought this would be really fitting to do. I wanted to do another villain one and another Marvel one since I did a DC one last time, and hopefully I'm going to do either a Shonen Jump, Valiant, or Image one after this one next time. We'll see when we get there, though. But anyways, I thought this would be a good one since we've already done a Fantastic Four character bio, and Victor Von Doom, believe it or not, has an amazingly interesting origin. So this might be a bit longer than the past few ones I've had that have been much more direct, cut to the chase kind of things. But definitely stick for this one. This one's really interesting, and I encourage you guys to read the original comics too. I know a lot of people complain about the art style. It's not as sleek and nicely done as the computerized art style is done today. But definitely the stories are just as good, especially in the Fantastic Four ones, even though he does do some wacky things. But anyways, let's get on to it. So Victor Von Doom was born in Latveria from a gypsy mother and traveling doctor father. His mother, Cynthia, that was her name, practiced dark magic, eventually leading to her death after a deal with Mephisto. The deal went horribly wrong. Without going too into it, basically she tried getting out of the deal after it was done because she didn't like fully, the terms of it, not the terms, but like the results of the deal, and it didn't really work out for her. Especially after the amount of people that died and the relation to how the king dealt with that. But anyways, Victor's father, Werner, attempted to keep this from Victor, trying to give him somewhat of a normal childhood. Victor met and quickly became close with a girl named Valeria in his childhood. In the later years, they ended up becoming, somewhat of boyfriend-girlfriend kind of relationship. It was romantic. But when he was 11, his father failed to heal the king's wife, which eventually led to them going on the run. When his father eventually died, Victor found not only his father's things, but also magic readings from his mother that his father was hiding from him. This caused a desire in Victor to master not only science, but magic. And that kind of scared Valeria a bit, because she really didn't know what would come of it, per se. It's one of those things that you'd be worried for your significant other if they were trying to embark on something so dangerous. I guess a good analogy, or not analogy, but a good example would be, or joining the military today. Joining the military would be a good example too. Like, you worry for their safety when they're out there in the war zone. But by the time Victor reached adulthood, he was very skilled in magic, while also being one of the world's smartest minds. He used a combination of those abilities to actually trick royalty in Latveria, which pissed them off naturally. And through this, he eventually left Latveria and Valeria to start studying in the United States at State University, which is in New York, which is a fictional university, by the way. I felt like I should point that out. There he met Reed Richards, also Ben Grimm, but most importantly Reed Richards, where they became rivals. It's very funny. The actual very, 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 very specific story of how they met was in a physics class. Victor was arguing with the professor. The professor, was saying that, talking about Einstein's theory, Victor, pointed out some flaw in it, and Reed actually backed him up, which offended Victor because he was like, I don't need your help. Because he's Doctor Doom. He has one of the biggest egos in all of comics. So Victor finished, after this, later on in his college career, he finished his machine to contact his mother in hell. Now, he always wanted to meet his mother and either be able to contact her and talk to her and, interact with her, or bring her back to life. He felt what happened and stuff with Mephisto once he learned about it. He was not happy about it by any means. And many times in comics, he has confronted that in one way or another. Usually it doesn't end well, though. To go about this very, very ambitious task, he combined the fusion of science and magic. Now, Reed Richards didn't believe this would fully work, especially because certain calculations weren't exact with how they should be, which obviously was to be expected, but Victor's ego was too big to listen. He was like, I'm Victor Von Doom, and it'll work. As you can see in the picture, he's being very, very short with Reed, who's helping him turn it on. So, while using it, it does actually work. He goes to hell. He actually does see his mom, who begs him to leave, obviously, because this is hell. And he does talk to Mephisto, even though it's extremely brief. Now, we don't know for sure. In the comics, they don't really fully confirm it. It's to be believed that it's because calculations were off, but in truth, it may have been that the machine blew up because of Mephisto, because it was working fine until Mephisto showed up and interacted with Victor. So this blew up and it scarred Victor's face, and after this he returned to Latveria because obviously the government did not know about this specific type of experimentation he was doing, and they weren't happy about it. Which, by the way, this was not like the massive scarring, which is why he wears the mask. It was a brief scar, but more so, this really it really impacted Victor because it hurt his ego. Like, he failed, and up to this point, Victor Von Doom pretty much never failed, especially in front of Reed Richards, who is his rival. Like, that's a pretty big blow when Reed tells you, "Don't do this. Some things are off. It won't work right." And then, lo and behold, something bad happens. Using a time machine he built, Victor began visiting different decades in the past. He actually visited the World War II era and manipulated Hitler a bit, influenced certain things behind the scenes against the Allies, really just because he didn't really have a specific purpose for him. But he also temporarily lived in France, where a drunk named Otto constantly annoyed him, who actually ends up being quite important in Victor's overall origin story, believe it or not. So soon after this, Valeria reunited with Victor, but the KGB came after them. The reasoning for this is because, just like the United States military wanted Victor Von Doom's help in developing new technologies, so did Russia. And when the KGB came after Victor, Victor didn't want to help any governments anymore. He didn't want to work with any governments, so he killed them. And that obviously pissed off the KGB. So during this, obviously, it got a lot more violent, and Otto, who was secretly a monk from the East, eventually ended up giving his life to save Victor's life. This obviously intrigued Victor because Otto said that he believed Victor was kind of the savior of his people, so to speak. So, eager to learn more about the monks, he left Valeria again. He does this a lot. And in the Himalayas, he found the monks after a brutal search. He fought a Yeti, and he almost died various times. He definitely went through some trials here. Very kind of Stephen Strange-esque with the Ancient One, if you want to compare it to another Marvel character. So within 5 years, after living with them, he actually ended up mastering all of their science and magic. Their society used a bit of both, which perfectly fit with what Victor wanted to do, obviously. And Victor was so proficient at it, and he did so much with it, he ended up becoming their leader. Like, they even called him master, as you can see in the panel I put on the side. And the monks also gave him the name Dr. Doom, so that's how he got his name. And Victor then made his armor before returning home. Now, Victor's armor actually is primarily responsible for most of his scarring, believe it or not, especially on his face. When the monks made the armor, he did not wait until it cooled down to put it on, because he was so embarrassed about the minor scar he already had. So when he put on the extremely hot metal, it further scarred his face. So contrary to what you might believe, the accident that happened did not really scar him. It left like a small scar across his face that could easily have been solved and fixed with plastic surgery. So Victor returned to Latveria, killed the king, and became a new ruler for Latveria with actually a lot of support at the time. He soon became a constant enemy of the Fantastic Four, a group led by his college rival Reed Richards. Naturally, because he'd always challenge Richards, because he wanted to, this really comes down to him wanting to prove to Reed Richards he's smarter, because Reed's considered the smartest person in the Marvel Universe, human-wise at least, and obviously Dr. Doom challenges that theory, which at times he's given a good argument to challenge for. But Victor continues his goal. This is in the older comics. In the newer comics, he doesn't really do this anymore, but he continues his goal to revive his mother, making a pact with Mephisto to have at least one chance per year. This is actually canon in comics. They don't really reference it anymore. But Victor made a deal with Mephisto that allows him at least one chance a year to revive his mother. However, if Victor fails, the people of Latveria will have a growing hatred towards him that will grow every year he fails more. So, kind of some persuasion, which, as you can imagine, the Marvel Universe, time moves much differently than it does for us. But we know for a fact Victor has failed a few times. So let's get on to some abilities here. With the armor, it gives him superhuman strength, speed, durability, stamina, intellect, or not intellect, but flight. He has a super genius intellect naturally, even though there's some theories that due to his mother's magic wielding, especially dark magic wielding, while Victor was, in the womb. That may be a part of some of his intelligence and also his natural affinity for magic. Now, strength-wise, we don't know how strong he is. We know he can lift several tons. It's not like 100 tons or anything like that. It's probably like 10 max, I'd say. Because he didn't make it for combat. It's more just, he just wears it all the time. Just multi-purpose, just to fit his needs, not his wants. Speed comes with the suit. Stamina also comes with the suit to some degree. Durability, obviously it's an armor. His intellect. Now, a lot of people have trouble kind of labeling where he's at on like a list of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. I would put him up there with Reed Richards. The reason why is because he's countless times again tricked Reed Richards. He's outsmarted Reed Richards, outsmarted the Avengers. Like, obviously, he's usually the antagonist, so Reed Richards ends up coming on top. But the fact that he does that in general is brilliant, especially because a lot of times, like, he's not just smart in science, he's smart in magic. And not only that, but he's able to bridge the two, which not many people can do. Usually people keep them totally separate. So to be able to do that successfully as many times as he has, that deserves some, acknowledgement there. Flight comes from the suit. He doesn't fly at like supersonic speeds. It's more of like kind of like a jetpack kind of flight. Magic, obviously, he's not Sorcerer Supreme level, but he's definitely up there. He can wield dark magic, light magic, any magic really, especially gypsy magic. That type of sorcery he's really good with. Leadership, he's the ruler of Latveria, but more specifically, Latveria went from being a third world country to one of the top 10, wealthiest countries in the world after like a month or two of Victor Von Doom's leadership. So he's very good at being a leader. He inspires his people love him. His people, and there's some theories that he brainwashes them, but he still leads them very well. Like, they're doing very well off in Latveria. He's also a skilled tactician and skilled strategist. So, and that is a lot to do with also his brilliance. And like I said before, he outsmarts the Avengers, Fantastic Four, countless teams, countless heroes all the time, and villains all the time. It's really funny. He fought a bunch of superheroes, not the Fantastic Four, but a bunch of other superheroes in the Marvel Universe after losing to the Fantastic Four a few times, just to learn from them so he could apply what he learned from fighting them against the Fantastic Four. Like, he lost on purpose with the sole intent of just learning from them, which is really interesting. Not a lot of villains would go that far, plan something like that to eventually use against their primary, antagonist, you could say. So I hope you guys learned a lot from this. I hope you guys found this character interesting. Let me know in the comments how you feel below, and I'll see you guys later.